Hello, this is Chris Howard. I'm here with Loral Langemeier, and Loral's got an amazing story. She's been in the business of business for ages and ages and ages, and she's got over 82 businesses herself. She's built over 600, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this, over 600 millionaires. And they call her the Millionaire Maker. So welcome, Laurel.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to.
And thanks for bringing me to Australia. I've
Oh,
always
you
wanted
got
to
it.
open up Australia, and here we are.
Now the funny thing is that we're both from Tahoe, and here we meet in Australia. That's weird.
I know. So now we're going to have to go back up and play on the lake.
I guess so. Yeah, that'll be fun. So now I'm curious, just to get a little bit of your background, where you came from. How did you get into the business that you're currently in?
Nebraska farm girl. Yeah, everybody's shocked. And so, like, you still drive miles and miles and miles out to my mom's
Dairy
house.
Queen? Oh, no,
yeah,
they have the Dairy Queens in Nebraska.
Exactly. They do have the Dairy Queens in
know.
Nebraska, and they have Godfather's Pizza and all these little Valentino's Pizza. So I grew up in Nebraska and had all these brothers and sisters, and we always teased my parents that the only reason they had us is to do chores and work for them. And so the minute I graduated, 24 kids in my graduating class. I mean, we grew up in an itty-bitty town.
That was small.
Yeah, you can't even find it on MapQuest. I drove off. You know, everybody's cry. Oh, I'm going to miss you. I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, there's life outside. So, I just started building businesses, worked my way through college, got a finance degree, but I learned all the boring, supply, demand.
What was the first business you built?
It was actually personal training and aerobics instruction.
Okay.
So I went to all the different little corporations in town and, taught a lot of activities and back injury prevention, nutrition, all of that stuff. And then after my finance degree, really didn't want to sit behind a desk, so I went back, got a master's degree in exercise physiology because I played basketball through college and was always an athlete. Okay. And so then I came back and really did some big corporate work. I took my finance degree and I did a lot of ROIs on injury prevention and health statistics. And long story, but I ended up working for Chevron, and that's what got me to the West Coast.
Okay.
And then during that time at Chevron, I wanted back into finance, but I wanted really the wealth industry, the speaking industry, and that's when I met Robert Kiyosaki and became the master.
What year was that? That was...
It was 1996. I met Robert, 97. His Rich Dad books were just coming out. I met him when the game was just coming out. So
his game, Cash Flow.
The Cash Flow game. So I was part of the Cash Flow game, master distributor, and started buying tons of real estate.
So let me get this straight. The money that you got from working with Robert and selling the cash flow games, all of that.
And Chevron, because I made a lot of money at Chevron.
And Chevron is what you used to invest in real estate. Was it residential real estate?
It was we bought apartment buildings. Yeah, we bought a lot of apartments. We went down to do the small stuff, right? Because everybody said you can cash flow that a lot better. It's just as much work to do small stuff as big stuff. So we went back up to do the big stuff.
That's interesting. Donald Trump says it's just as easy to manage 10 apartments as it is to manage 500.
You are correct. Yeah. You're right. So we just started doing really big deals. And then again, a lot of my older partners taught me how to raise money. So then
how did you do that? How did that start? Like, bring me back to the first deal.
Well, the first deal, I met the guy that I did all this work with in a coaching class, and he was retired in the mid-40s. And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Well, I think I'm going to coach people. I've been successful at real estate." And I said, "Well, show me how to do it." I said, "I'm tired of going to all these seminars and all these places, and everybody says, 'Oh, it's so easy.'" I said, "Where is it? How do you do it?" And so we went and bought an apartment building together.
Now did you
he and I.
How much of your own money was in that?
That was all my money.
How much?
That was about $100,000.
So you had about $100,000 that was just sitting there, sitting in the bank or whatever, and you say, "I'm going to put this money in."
And he would do all the work and show me how to do it. And
he put no money in.
He put all his brains in. I put all the money in.
And you took on all the debt.
And we together took the debt.
You together took on the debt.
I needed him to help qualify.
Got it.
So it was like my first deal. And I thought, well, this isn't very hard. We can do this again. And so then this time he said, "Well, go raise money." And I said, "Well, how do you do that?" He said, "Well, go ask people." I said, "Well, how do you do that?" Yeah. So he taught me spreadsheet analysis. He taught me how to do it, like really go to the streets and do it. So then during that time, that was like 1999, because that's when I hit my millionaire status, because I was going to be a single mom. I was about 4 months pregnant. I was going to be a mom. He didn't want to be a dad. And I got to it. So I raised $16 million. And
now 16, when you say
other people's money, and we bought.
Was this for the second deal, or was this just
multiple deals?
This was for multiple deals.
So then we went into multiple real estate deals. We bought lots of apartment buildings, some fourplexes, duplexes, did a little single family stuff. So I raised, he did the work together. We just were doing it. I mean,
and what were you doing? Were you doing like a shotgun approach or machine gun approach?
He knew all the analysis. He did like 1,600 variables of research, and he would find the markets, and then I would raise the money, and we found a great legal team and a great accounting team, and so that's how it started.
But did you do investor elevator pitches where you get a bunch of people in a room, or did you go and just approach people one by one?
Yep. Well, and I was playing cash flow games. So I would put on these big game nights, and a lot of people would come, and I would just talk about what I'm doing, which is I became a real estate investor. You know, it was just right before my 34th birthday, and I was about 4 months to deliver my son, and I became a millionaire. And so I would just start telling my story, and people said, well, take me with you. So we would fly them to Oklahoma or Kansas or Texas, wherever we were, and we would just start doing it. I mean, we were just doing it and doing it and doing it. And so, and
when you were purchasing the apartment buildings, was it cash flow that you were looking for
Yes.
for rental? Okay.
Cash flow, and then a few of them were more appreciation. And then, you know, we did our own property management companies because we noticed the big nationals would just take all your cash flow. And so then we learned property management. So I learned all of it. And then I went into Arkansas with a woman that I met there because I thought, well, if I could do this with him, I can find somebody else senior in the market. So I found a woman there, and we bought hundreds and hundreds of homes, and we lease optioned them. And then I found another partner in Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Now, what was driving you through all of this? Because it sounds like massive activity. It was just fun.
It was totally fun. It was sort of like, you know, being an athlete. It was like my personal best. It was like, gosh, if I can do one deal, I can do the next deal, right? It was like, what else could we do? So that's why, I mean, I was in like 32 markets. I'm in 20 markets now in different real estate ventures. When Idaho started its run and Albuquerque started its run, we got in early. We bought land. And then again, I went back to some of my old partners. We would buy land. We'd, you know, partner with some developers in that area that were already established, and we would bring the resources. And so, like, we just sold out of 96 land lots right at the run of Idaho in the Boise market. And then we went into Mexico, and
well, no,
it's so much fun.
I hear you saying how much fun it is to build in that way. But nonetheless, I've also heard you say that you've overwhelmingly made most of your money in business.
I did. So
what changed?
I would cash out of real estate, and then I would start finding inefficient businesses, similar to the real estate markets. I would find the right times and go and buy some businesses. And
so there were a lot of skills that mapped across?
A lot of skills mapped across.
Yeah.
Finance, legal, the deal portions all kind of mapped across.
Raising the money.
Great legal team. I'll tell you, there's nothing better than a great legal team. It is worth the money to do that all right. And so the businesses, I got a lot of the core capital from real estate, but flipping businesses, I mean, you know.
Now, when you say flip a business,
what? So you like raise 2.7 and sell it for 28 million. I mean, just incredible difference, at least my experience, than in real estate. Like, I was never, and I'm sure people have done that. I know Trump's done that. A lot of people have done that in real estate. But I just found, you know, businesses were more my niche of being able to really make bigger chunks of money.
So you'd go into these deals with several partners?
Lots of partners, usually 20, 30 partners. They were accredited investors. We'd buy inefficient businesses. They were already cash flowing. And then we would fix them either through marketing and sales, which is...
Now, if you had 20 or 30 partners, who took on the responsibility for fixing it? Was it everybody joint effort, or was it a couple of...
whoever found the deal, whoever had the most expertise. I would always be in on the marketing and sales side because that's my highest level of expertise. And so there would be a small group, like one of the manufacturing plants. We actually hired a manufacturing expert out of Dial Corporation, you know, a big $200,000 job. We hired him right out. And a lot of people probably listening would say, well, why would somebody like that come? Because they get equity this time. Like, they get to make the run of their life this time. So it isn't just about a big salary. For them, we get their brains, we get all that corporate experience. But, you know, they got 3% of the run, which for them made them a millionaire. And they could have worked 30, 40 years and never hit that run. And then we've taken, you know, there's a woman who was an executive at Intel and did a network marketing company. She came and built the technical infrastructure. Again, made part of that run. So a lot of people who've come from big backgrounds, we would attract them.
Now, with the people coming in, were they all bringing money and expertise, or some just money, some just expertise?
Little combination.
So you had some that would just come in with their expertise alone and gain a piece of that project.
Yep. So that's sort of become, I think, you know, that for me, that's the juicy part. That's what keeps me motivated. People say, why do you come out and speak? I know how to help people make that bridge out of corporate America to entrepreneurialism. That's what I feel like my biggest gift for people has been in helping them become millionaires, because they got on these teams where they really knew how to play.
And I saw that, and you're speaking and speaking at our event that we're at. You had people stand up and you said, okay, what does this person need? Who has these skills? Who has these skills? And you were pairing people up that had skill sets that would complement one another. And it sounds like that's exactly the way that you did it. and made it work. And
in the room, it was just more what I call more of an elementary model,
Sure.
right? It's like graphic artist meet photographer meet web designer. But most of those people at a very basic level don't even know how to do that.
Right.
And what we're doing that is at a much more elevated level and a lot more experience. But anybody can do this, Chris. And I think once they start doing it at what I call a very basic level of business, then it's just about adding money, adding resources, and playing the bigger game. It's totally available. I think people think it's this thing that's way off in the future, and it's only for the Chris Howards of the world, or the Lorals, or the Keith Cunningham. It's like and it's like anybody could do this. I started from nothing.
Now, how many of these deals would you launch at once? Because there's different schools
maybe
of
one
thought.
A quarter.
One a
quarter.
And what kind of health would you want to deal in before you moved on to something next?
It had to be like right now. 2008 has been. I have launched one other project, and here we are, we're in June, and I've only launched one because I have a lot in the works, and it's really important that they come to fruition. And what I found is actually in 06, 07, I got a little too many projects. So 07, I started backing off, and really in 08, I'm just really watching. Plus, the economy is very different in America right now.
Because Keith Cunningham, who's a friend of both of ours, one of the things he says is there's a reason why women, and he says in his text, now Creo says a reason why women only have one baby at a time. He says because and a business is like a baby, and so but it sounds like you had a lot of activity happening at once and doing it successfully.
But a lot of teams, and so really I became kind of the leader of teams. And then in certain areas, I've had to go in and take CEOs out and tough stuff. I mean, I'm living and breathing it, which is why. You've watched. I mean, that's why Keith just speaks to it. I mean, there's no script, and people say, "How come can you talk for 3 hours and not script?" Because I'm doing it. I mean, there's not an area,
that you haven't lived.
That I haven't lived.
Yeah,
right.
No, I get
and Keith's somebody who just a few months ago I called him and I said, I'm doing this and this and this. What do you think? And if I think so many people are scared.
I did the same thing. I called him 2 months ago.
And actually, what do I do about that? It's like, God, I'm in this weird place, and and I get very advanced clients, people who are worth far more millions than I am, and I'll call him or call a couple other guys. I have this billionaire friend that I call and I'll call. That's a great resource, and I'll say, so what should I be doing about that? They're in a different space than I've ever been in. I think if anyone can take it's like be in action and ask for help. Asking for help is not about being weak and small, and I think there's this old thing, especially in America, like that. And
just input from people that are smart and intelligent. You can tap their intelligence for sure. Now I'm just curious. You say you have a lot of. How do you manage your time? I mean, if you've got so many projects,
I've got brilliant teammates. There's a e-learning platform right now that I'm looking at purchasing. Again, it's one of those great. The woman's grown it for about 6-7 years, and so when I look at things now, the first thing I think about, Chris, is who do I know, or who can know somebody who knows somebody who can run that. Because I know I can put the project together. I know I can raise the money. It's a 35% net cash flow today with sort of broke. I mean, it's a huge opportunity to just take it on for a year or two, flip it, make millions of dollars. So the first thing I always say, this little theme now says, say yes and figure out how. Yeah. Figure out how is who do I know or who does somebody know that could run that with excellence, where I don't have to babysit them and it can be their baby, not my baby, but I can be over here and kind of looking, and I have a big team. So the formula really is I take less, give away more to the team that's going to run it day to day.
So in 82 businesses,
I've got too much that I'm running day to day myself.
Right.
So I've got to have an extraordinary team that just keeps helping run things and move things. They give financial reports every month.
So in 82 businesses, I mean, what's the ideal percentage for you to own, so you know that they're taking on most of the responsibility, yet you're still getting...
It's really different. It can go anywhere from as low as 5-6% to, some of them are 80-90. But the more that I own, the more that and I've given away shares to people who can take on more parts. So I've also, redistributed some of my ownership to bringing on teammates. So,
right.
And also in the last, 2 years I've had a baby, so
I'm
a little busy.
Yeah, it sounds like
a little busy.
Wow. So now when you, I'm just curious about this whole, the whole idea of the team forming, the team building. When you had your group, and do you still have that group that you go out and, okay. Who's the leader of the group? Is there a leader? Is there somebody that, or is it just...
We all take on different leadership projects, wherever our expertise is. So the partner from way back in the day who started with me first, he's my lead partner into Mexico. So he lives there 6 months of the year. He's got dual citizenship now. So he leads our Mexico projects. And then we have found people that have become millionaires that were interested. Like I have a woman who had a huge sales job, $250,000 sales job for SAP. She quit and helped us open Cabo, so she goes and lives there part-time, and she's kind of being mentored under him. So we grow people up that really have the time and resources, and she's put a lot of money invested, so we have a lot on the line. And she's lead up to fly to Cabo and make stuff happen down there. He's lead up in another place.
Do you have a shared set of investment criteria?
5 years.
What?
So the minimum for me to even look at a project would be a minimum of 5 years in the space of that, whatever that market is, and 5 years. Somebody has to have 5 years of investor relations and really being with accredited investors. So
Okay.
minimum 5 and 5.
5 and 5.
And of course, like Keith, some of my bigger mentors would say, that's lean. He's going to say 8 to 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, did the rest of your group, do they share your criteria? Or
Yes.
so you have agreed upon criteria. These are the types of deals that we're looking for. What types of businesses are you looking for?
Inefficient, I call them. So things that are already running, cash flowing. Startups, I think, are that's a whole nother animal.
Right.
So to start up everything is just, I shouldn't say it's too much risk. It's just
different.
It's just
It's like
different.
you do one or you do the other.
You do
It's
the one,
like
right?
it's-
We're not
yeah.
kind of VC, angel, take the risk. That's just not our thing. That is a completely different set of rules. Ours are businesses that have been in business for 3 to 5. A lot of them I've been doing 7 to 9 years, and they're just the initial owner is tired, right? They've been doing it for 7, 9 years. They haven't been able to move it any further. Like they got it to a certain level and they can't move it to the next place. So they need marketing, they need sales, they need money to go to the next level. Because usually next level requires some infrastructure, right? And people don't want to spend that or they don't know how to do it. So that's kind of our space. That's what we're really good at. Like we have a group right now that's putting together a set of laundromats called a roll-up. So we're going to buy, 18, 20 laundromats. And then again, we got some great experts in different areas. And then I found the big guy who's going to roll it all up. And then, we'll own, because I'd rather own one or like a little bit.
When you say the
of
big guy, you mean the big investor, the person bringing the money in?
No, a big guy with expertise.
With expertise,
right?
got it.
72 years old, just kind of met him. Like, I just kind of meet people out in the world. And he's done what it calls rolled up. So, you could own one laundromat, I could own one. But together, if we owned a little bit of 20, our diversification's bigger. Right. So if one laundromat's down, we still have 19 producing. So he's going to help us create that for the first time, which is very exciting. So I'm learning a lot from him because he's bringing that expertise, but I'm bringing the 20 different individual laundromats, right? So together, he's bringing the expertise, I'm bringing the people, and then we'll raise more money. And obviously, the individual owners will keep a share, but some of those individual owners are struggling in their one, and again, they'd rather own like a little bit of 20, which is far better risk, tolerance and diversification for a portfolio. So I've learned so much along this path too, just because people just keep coming with such brilliance. Like the guy who did Mrs. Fields, he is working with one of my clients who's a MBA.
Cookies, yes?
Yeah,
Yes,
Mrs. Fields
okay,
Cookies.
Mrs. Fields Cookies. Yeah.
So he was the real estate guy who met one of a client that's a Harvard MBA guy who worked for Fidelity for years and years and was just kind of done and had a lot of money. And he's now done several restaurants. One is in Marin County, it's called Cafe Z. The other one's across from Harvard Gates called Z Squared. And now they're opening 7 more. And so again, I've just kind of been part of that team, and I'm more of an investor in that team, watching restaurants, which I've never. So I'm just getting like this PhD of a lifetime.
What a
and
trip.
making a ton of money and being with the coolest people ever.
Huh.
I'm loving it.
What would you say is your greatest strength? What do you bring to the team? What do you bring to this?
Leading teams and the dynamic of teams. Like when teams are at an absolute clash or breakdown, it's facilitating the movement of the teams, putting the deal together. Love lawyers on my team, as I said, but they also sometimes forget their business sense. So I always come in with that business common sense, like we're not going to just take the whole thing down or do that. We're going to walk through it together. So I think that kind of deal-making, facilitating structure, making sure people stay connected. Because, I always say your best partner is one that doesn't need to be in the limelight with you. It's the one who's walking the path and just making stuff happen. Like one of my partners just got back from Korea, made $1 million last weekend for us. Thank you. Right? But just emailed and said, thank you. But it was a time in the business was like rocky, and Mark Victor Hansen, I had him come and talk to him for a while. He invested in the company, and he's becoming our national spokesperson for that company. So I'm good at that relationship building while that other partner's out raising more money and making us money.
Interesting.
So
what are there any skills that you strive to ameliorate over the years, to get really good at? Anything that you said, boy, those are the skills?
Well, what I feel like what I'm in is the fruition of these deals. Like as Keith calls them, I'm in the process of several of these babies in the next 2 to 3 years are going to actualize into, we have the opportunity to do it right and hit the 100 million mark in the next few years, just with a few of these businesses. So it's really staying focused and staying deep into the enterprise. And I'm a starter, so of course I always like to go.
What's next?
Right, where's my next thing? And so that's part of, like even Keith, like stay focused.
Yeah.
Like you have so much gold right here. Just keep the teams together, keep them moving. There's all sorts of decisions that need to be made, and all sorts of egos and attitudes and money, and some money. The investors think we should be doing one thing, and we know that it's right to do another thing. So it's this intense relationship building. So I would say that's probably my biggest growth is
the
this
relationship.
And then, at a level that I've never played at,
So you're growing
intense.
there, but would you say that there were any skills where you go, I'm going to perfect that, or I'm going to go learn that, or I'm going to go get really, really good at that, or not really? Was it just?
I think that in doing this, I will become masterful.
So just
at
the
it.
process
It's the
itself
process
of
itself
being
of
there
doing this.
is making you very good at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when I'll know I'm good is when we strike sales on these businesses.
Right.
Then I'll know. So yeah, I think, and that's what I'm really working with my billionaire on is, I get his input every quarter. We meet for a day and a half, and it's like, what do I need to be looking at that I'm not looking at? And what do I need to see, and who needs, and then trading people up. That's a huge leadership skill of saying, you took us to a certain place, and now you need to take a back seat while another team takes us to another place.
Right.
That's huge leadership, right? Because that's lots of tears, lots of fighting, lots of I can't believe you're letting me down. It's like I'm not letting you down. You still own what you own. You just can't run the run. And those are really, that's huge leadership at a place that I haven't led. I may have, but it feels like, the process is going to take me to the next place. And then who knows what's available there.
What's really important to you in business? What's
integrity? Integrity. Smart, truthful, honest people, and I think that's part of the model of this is knowing who are your starters, who are your finishers, who are your maintainers, putting the right team together, making sure everybody stays true to what we all, promise the investors, and they're investing in us. I mean, that's the stuff I learned from Keith and even Robert, and I've got so many incredible mentors in front of me that have really taught me. Money follows management, and so I'm in the heart of managing at a level that I've.
And how much hands-on are you in terms of
all the time? If I'm not on, I would say 40-50% of my time
really
is in these businesses.
And
absolutely.
How many hours a day would you say you work?
See, I don't know that it's work. I don't know how you feel. To me, it's just play. Like I don't know what else I would do. How many days in my brain actively focused on business? 10, 12.
Right.
10, 12. I'm in it all the time. And then my world is about that, right? I mean, I've had book launch parties for my best-selling books, and
but it's a party.
It's a party,
yeah, exactly.
and they're all my clients, and they're investors, and they're friends, and it's we're all come together for a bigger mission. Not only to make each other money, but like we have this alumni group I was telling you, where people have been with us for a year up to 7 years, and we just got back from Costa Rica, and now we're at a point.
And what were you doing in Costa Rica? Was it?
We were looking at some land projects, and then we were learning. We brought a bunch of us speakers down, and we brought the Starbucks crew in to teach us about their Starbucks experience and the Ritz-Carlton experience, so kind of this next level of how do you play business. So they came to speak with our group. But we're bringing our families, and so we launched our, it's called Loral's Kids. It's a whole kids program. So we had 24 kids for the first time, and one of our kid workers, who's a child psychologist, took our kids out and taught them assets and liabilities and teamwork, and we had a scavenger hunt, but it was all around the conversation about money, and we gave them a project, and they all gave input, and so it's just kind of more and more that our goal really, like one of my goals is to do, and I have the publisher that's committed to it, is wealth building for kindergarten, first grade, second grade. So it's 13 books, and they're small little books, but it's about age-appropriate wealth building conversations that parents need to have with kids, and that's really our big give back, because kids have got to learn this.
And it's so missing. It's just not out there. Now, you, in terms of what you do today, would you consider yourself more of a teacher? Would you consider yourself more of an investor? Where do you?
I think entrepreneurial investor would be first up, because that's really what I've got an enormous commitment to making that whole thing happen. And more and more teacher. Like the more I learn in those spaces, the more like I'm even better at being a teacher. What's next is heading into a book line and a product line. We're going to keep the Millionaire Maker in the space that it is, but you know how Martha Stewart
But-
went
but-
to Kmart, Millionaire Maker is going to the masses, which means instead of working on $100,000 machines, really, like in the US, I just read the statistic and did a lot of homework on it, that 70% of the foreclosures that are going on today in America would be saved if people could make $700 extra a month. That's all they need to make. So we're really heading into kind of the rest of 08 and 09, really helping just the masses make a little extra money, because most of them don't know how to do anything outside of a job. They've never been taught just that basic skill. So we're going to kind of do a whole piece of education around how do you make $500 to $1,000 bucks. You know, it's 25 to 50 bucks a day, and a lot of people, masses, don't know how to do it. You know, I mean, it's just amazing. So
Now,
we're still
when you
gonna
say
keep
the
our
Millionaire
good stuff.
Maker, tell me a little bit about that, because we haven't really touched on that. What do you do right now?
That's make millionaires. I mean,
Make
that's
millionaires.
really,
How do you
I
do it? How do you do it?
kind of shot out the gate in 2005.
I want to be a millionaire. How do I do it? What do I do?
You make money. So
Yeah.
we teach you how to make money. What's
Yeah.
your entrepreneurial venture? We teach a lot of corporate tax strategies, you know, estate, trust
So this is
planning.
in courses,
Yeah,
training,
it's-
seminars.
Yeah, in big
Yeah.
courses. And then this investing piece. How do you really invest in these kind of projects we've been talking about? That is where millionaires are made, and they're made very quickly. And a lot of my, you know, teaching before, my mentoring before was talking about it, but no one would hold my hand and take me to the space. No one would say, you know what, Chris, come in, you know, for 50,000, you're a credit investor, you can invest in this thing, and you know, we do all that right. We'll sell it for millions of dollars, and right immediately.
So rather than being a coach, you consider yourself to be a mentor because you've been there,
Yeah.
and do you hold their hand through these deals?
Yep.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we do is we allow, you know, it's mostly accredited investors, so that means we got to get them making $250,000 to even get that qualification. But once they're in that space, you know, $250,000 to $1 million, usually it's in the investing side of the house, can happen faster. Like I have a woman who came in and she had, what did she have? $500,000 of lazy assets. I mean, just equities, 401ks, just stuff. I mean, just not invested well. And in less than 7 months, by just moving her portfolio, she went to 1.2 million. Just by fixing her portfolio. I mean, so that's what I'm really good at, that, and then helping people build those bigger machines. So in 2005, you know, McGraw-Hill found me, and we started writing a
Publishing
book.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
publishing house. We started writing a book, and they're the ones that kind of coined the phrase for me. And they said, "You're the Millionaire Maker," and I said, "That's kind of like, you know."
I like it.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too. So I kind of got used to it. It was like, you're right, I do that. Because I was doing it, you know, I was buying businesses and real estate, and we also, you know, have gas and oil connections. And so as we were really working on people's portfolios, that's what we were doing. And so then I started writing about it, talking about it, now teaching about it, 600
Do you
millionaires
do
later.
more one-on-one work or more group work, or
We
how's
do
it?
very small, intimate work. In fact, you know, our hometown is Zephyr Cove. I bought a building.
We both live in Zephyr Cove. I
love
know.
it. So I bought that 3-story atrium building, and
I know the one you're talking
I
about,
custom
yeah.
designed it for, on the bottom floor and the top floor, I put in 60 people. So I don't work with more than 60 people at a time. And then there's 5 to 7 millionaire instructors that are on that group for a 2 to 3 day period. So we're just very intimate. We work in very small settings, and that works. And then they divide into mastermind groups, and they get a one-on-one millionaire coach. And you know, over the course
Where
of
do
the year,
you live in Kingsbury?
I live up on State Line on Kingsbury.
Up in that area. Who's your dentist?
That's so funny, Dr. Jarrett.
Oh, Dr. Jerry, because Scott Forvely went to school with me, went to high school
No
with me.
way.
You know, it's probably, I don't know if it's in the same area or
Yeah.
not.
Well, he's right at
You
the
know
bottom
who
of the
he
hill.
is. Yeah, he's right
and
at the
Jarrett's
bottom.
at the other side of the hill.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah,
right.
we met him through our kids.
That's funny.
That's funny. You asked my dentist.
Who's your dentist?
Oh, my
Is that-
dentist. My great smiley teeth. Yeah.
So you go in there, people come up to Tahoe, they take these courses with you. And do
For
you
a
do
year.
one-on-one coaching at all, or is it mostly just in these small groups?
I
and
did
that
it for
you
a
find-
long
yeah.
time, and once I had my daughter, you know, just 2 years ago, I stopped doing
It's
it.
just better
personally.
leverage to have the,
Yeah. But I'm about to ready to go back because I'm really good at it. I love that part. So, and I do a lot of the coaching through mentoring, you know, these projects. Whoever's, you know, leading the project gets a lot of my time, and together we're working, and they get a lot of access to my mentors. And I think that's, people that make it a certain level, I think, stop getting mentored, and I think that's a mistake. I mean, I love that you're getting mentored. You know, we're in the same
All the
space
time,
all
yeah,
the
it's
time,
like,
and
yeah.
I think a lot of people give that up, and it's too soon.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the other thing. I have to hold this up.
Yeah, please do.
Right?
This
So we
is-
did
this
this
is cool.
too. So the Millionaire Maker game, given that I'm a gamer, right, from
Yeah.
Robert's days. So we did is we took.
So
the
Robert had the
concept-
cash flow
He had the
game
cash flow
that-
game,
yeah.
and this is the Millionaire Maker, which is a little broader in the concept. So
Right.
he taught the assets, you know, your, you know, passive income over expenses, which is really investing, in
Yes.
real estate. This is more, how do you get a business? How do you get it tax advantaged? How do you handle debt? How do you handle, I hate the word savings, so I call it a wealth account. How do you handle asset allocation? And then we have cards in here that are called TLC cards, which are team leadership and conditioning, that when you get on certain squares and boxes, you can't buy assets if you don't have TLC points, which is team leadership and conditioning, which is part of your whole mindset that you're
Interesting,
teaching.
yeah.
So, because you'll never win, really, if you don't have TLC.
Now this is my gift. You've given this to me, right?
This is yours, too.
This is fantastic. So
It's
I'm
8
going to play
pounds,
this.
huge game. We have pewter pieces in here, too.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the real pewter pieces, one is a gas and oil well, one's an apartment complex, one is a prom note, one is a gold bar. So they're pewter pieces. I mean, we did it right. It's good.
This is fantastic. I'm
When
really
you talk
looking
about
forward to playing
manifesting,
this.
I do have to tell you how I manifested this, is I love gaming. And I said someday when the time's right, the people who need to design my game will come. And in my mentoring program, we have them named, and so I have like 50 tables so far, 50 groups that I've taught of 60 people. And in table 27, 2 guys, an anesthesiologist and a nurse, showed up, and they're the guys who designed my game.
You're kidding me.
Man, they're brilliant. This thing is an awesome learning game.
Huh.
So, and then we have a kids one coming.
No kidding.
We've got to teach kids.
So
yeah,
now
we did this.
you do so much. I'm thrilled to have you here at the event. We were on
Thanks.
stage
It's
and
been
stuff,
fun
and
to
this
be
is
here.
this is very cool. How do people best get in touch with you, or what's people that want to find out more about what you're doing?
LiveOutLoud.com. LiveOutLoud.com is my website. So
Okay.
then go to the website, and at the bottom of the website, you can sign up for what I call a strategy session. And I have a whole, call group who will strategize with you. Where are you now? Because sometimes just like a 2-day or 3-day workshop is the best thing to start. Some people straight out of reading my book came straight to Tahoe and came to my mentoring program. So it's just totally up to, our strategists are really trained to help you kind of find your way through what you're ready for.
No, but
Because I
some
really
of the people,
believe people need to be ready to go to the next level.
some of the people that come to the mentoring group, do they end up becoming part of your investor group? Do they?
Absolutely.
Really?
They
No
can.
kidding.
And they
Yeah.
can even bring projects.
Huh.
So again, it's all kind of screened and got a whole team that takes care of them. But yeah, some people come to look at the projects and can invest in them if they're qualified and it works for them. And some people come to learn to put projects together.
Interesting.
It's really cool.
Very, very fascinating. Well, I've had an incredible time having you here. I look forward to having you in future programs. And
And you back on
thanks
ours.
for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
I
been
appreciate
awesome.
it. Thank you.
All right. Cheers.